Hello everyone and happy 2021. Hopefully everyone's having a good start to the new year, even though it's still a little bit crazy. Today I have for you 4 Valentine's Day DIYs made from pretty much all Dollar Tree products. I hope you enjoy the video and let's get right into it. For the first DIY, I'm using this 8x10 canvas from Dollar Tree, and these paint sticks are from Home Depot. They're like 10 for $1, and I'm using this duct tape from Dollar Tree because I ran out of painter's tape, these wood letters from Dollar Tree, and then some twine from Dollar Tree as well. So to get started, you just have to open the canvas and remove all the staples from the back. The easiest method for me is to use a knife. It's not a super sharp knife. Just be very careful doing this in however you choose to remove these, and then I just pull them all up and remove them with some pliers. And here I'm just marking, I want my canvas to be 9 by 9 inches. Here I'm just showing you that I marked with my pencil 3 inches and then 6 inches because the canvas is 9 inches, so every 3 inches. And this will be the starting point of where we're going to put our tape. And now I'm just measuring a 1/2 inch over to add a second piece of tape, and that will be our first line. And now I'm adding the tape to the other side 3 inches over, and it just so happens it's already a 1/2 inch away from the middle tape, so it worked out perfectly, and this will be the first 2 lines that we do. I chose to use gray for the lines. You can use any color you would like. Now on the outside of those gray lines, I'm marking a 1/4 inch, and I do this on both sides. And then I mark a 1/4 inch from the first dot that we made. So I'm creating where I want to put our tape. So it's a 1/4 inch from the gray line and then a 1/4 inch over from the dots that we made. I hope that makes sense. You can kind of see it on the canvas there. It creates a little 1/4 inch space between the lines so that we can put our tape down to make skinnier lines. So I will say duct tape works very well for painter's tape. You just have to make sure that you really secure it where the paint is going to be applied so it doesn't seep under the tape. I know it looks a bit confusing here, but I'm just doing the other side to get that line done as well. I apologize. I thought I recorded taking the tape off originally, but what I'm doing here is the same thing we did the first time. I just switched the canvas around, and now we're doing the stripes the opposite way. So we're starting with those 3-inch over lines to create the bigger ones that we did the first time around. If that makes sense, I really hope this makes sense. It was so confusing for me to figure this whole thing out. So hopefully just by watching the video, you'll understand what I'm doing. Again, now doing the same thing, marking a 1/4 inch over and then a 1/4 inch over from that so that we can create those skinny lines. So because the canvas was 9 by 9 to start with, the squares are not completely even, and I did this because I knew I was going to be covering some of the sides with the paint sticks. However, the 2 other edges will be open, so we want those to be even. So I am going to trim those down, so it's going to be 8 inches instead of 9 on one side, so that it'll look like the squares are all even. And again, I hope that makes sense to you guys. So I'm cutting a 1/2 inch off of each side of the canvas. Now I'm taking the wooden letters and I took out the X and the O, and I'm just going to use these as a stencil to draw the letters onto the canvas. For the middle square, I'm just freehanding a heart. For the X's, I chose a lighter gray color to paint all of those, and I will paint my O's with a pink color, and then the heart will be red. Now I'm placing my paint stick to measure out where I want to cut it, and at first I just marked it by eyeballing it, but then I took my ruler to measure it, and it was just about 8.5 inches, so that's what I went with, and this gives a little overhang over the canvas on either side. Now just using my sanding block, I'm getting rid of any rough edges on the ends of both paint sticks, and then just using a wet wipe, I'm going to apply some antique wax. Now I'm just lifting up the paint stick so that I can add some hot glue directly where I want it, and then I just press it down, and that's it for applying the paint sticks. To make a hanger, I just took a piece of jute string and I'm just going to hot glue it to the back of the paint stick, and that's it. And here it is all finished. I really like how this turned out, just a little pop of color for Valentine's Day, and it still sticks with like the farmhouse kind of style. And with this, you can use any colors you'd like, which is nice. So it really can be tailored to your own home and decor. Moving on to DIY number 2, I got this frame from Dollar Tree and also these wooden beads from Dollar Tree, and then just some twine. So now I'm just removing the hanger from the back because we're going to be popping out the back of the sign to use the opposite side of it. I had started to paint it and realized I needed to sand where those stickers were to make it nice and smooth. So once that was done, I just went over it with some white chalk paint by Waverly. I did also sand it once it was completely dry. For the frame, I just took my wet wipe and some antique wax and added the antique wax directly to the frame. I did this on the inside, the outside, and the edges. I didn't record writing this, but I freehanded "Be Mine" in the corner at the bottom of the sign, and now just using some black paint, I am going to go over all the letters. You could certainly use a Cricut for this as well. I'm making a mark 3 inches over at the top of the sign and then also on the side of the sign because I am going to be drilling holes to add the beads into the sign. Now taking the beads, I'm just using the larger size, and some of them come as pink and red, so I left those as is, and I took some orange ones and painted them white. Here I was just seeing how many beads I was going to need, and I did end up using 8 beads. And now I'm just stringing the beads onto a piece of the jute string, and you can do this in any order that you'd like or any color beads that you would like as well. And I'm just adding the string through the hole on either side of the frame that we drilled, and I'm going to tie a knot. If you don't have a drill or any way to make the holes, you could always just hot glue the string to the inside of the frame or to the outside of the frame, and it would still look really cute. And now just with some hot glue, we will apply the back of the frame back in. And here it is all finished, and I think it's super cute. It's a cute little addition to put anywhere in your home. It would look really nice on a tiered tray as well. for our third DIY, we're using this wood heart from Dollar Tree, and then I'm just using these foam hearts as kind of like a template, and then any scarf of your choice, and this is also from Dollar Tree. Also, I decided to use one of these galvanized words from Dollar Tree. I'm going with the word love, and you can make one with the XOXO or Valentine as well. So to get started, I'm just going to cut down the foam heart a little bit smaller so it fits better inside the wood heart. Now I'm just removing the hanger, and I'm going to use a wet wipe and give the wood heart a coat of the antique wax. Using the heart that we cut out, I'm just putting it on the scarf to determine how big of a piece of fabric I need, because we're going to be putting this over the heart and stuffing it with pillow stuffing or whatever you have on hand. So don't be like me and get in the zone and glue the entire piece of fabric onto the heart. You do need to leave an opening for the stuffing, and I completely forgot to do this when I was gluing this down. So I ended up having to rip some of it up, but it still worked out just fine. Then when you're done stuffing it, use some hot glue and close the rest of it up. Now we just want to glue the heart to the wood heart, so I'm just using some hot glue and going around the edging and pushing it down nice and tight. Now taking the word love, I just kind of bent it down a little bit so it would go around the heart a little better, and I'm just going to add little dots of hot glue to attach this to the fabric. And once you put the hanger back on, it's all finished, and you can put this anywhere in your home. I love that you get to choose any color you'd like from any of the scarves that they sell at Dollar Tree, and it's still got that farmhouse feel. For the last DIY, I picked up this Love You More sign from the Dollar Tree. I got this last year. Not sure if they have them this year. I'm using just a few pieces of one of the mop heads from the Dollar Tree. These wood planks from the Dollar Tree, I end up using 4. And these chalkboard tags from Dollar Tree in the heart shape. And then I got these burlap hearts on clearance at Hobby Lobby last year. So the first thing I'm doing is cutting out the words Love You More, and I'm just going to be using the burlap part. So I take the red felt part off, and I end up gluing the burlap part to the chalkboard heart to cover the hole, but you could certainly just put a little bow there if you wanted to keep the heart all black. So going in with a wet wipe and my Antique Wax by Waverly, I'm giving each plank a coat of this. And I didn't want the burlap to blend in too much, so now I'm just dry brushing a light gray over that, and then I'll end up adding a little bit of black to it as well. Now just taking some hot glue, I'm gluing the heart to one of the planks, and I'll do the same for each of the words as well. Once I centered the word, I just start by doing one side and then I work my way back on the other side, and I'm just doing a very thin coat of this hot glue because you don't want too much, and otherwise it'll come through the burlap. I already had some loose pieces of the mop head from another mop I had taken apart, so I didn't show how to take it apart, but it's really not that difficult. And I just laid out one string from the mop head, and I'm going to align the signs, and I'm just kind of eyeballing this, I'm not measuring it, and I just add a little bit of hot glue and then hold it down, and I'll do the same for the other side. And once I attached the bottom sign on the other side, it was easier just to flip it over and do it this way. Just make sure to pull the rope nice and taut every time you add the hot glue. And now I'm just tying the two ends together at the top, and that's it, we're done. I love how this sign turned out. It's very farmhouse feel to me, very simple, but it's just perfect for my home decor for Valentine's Day. I really hope you guys enjoyed these DIYs I did for you for Valentine's Day, and I hope everyone has a great day and a happy Valentine's Day. Thanks, I'll see you next time.